What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about, can the Dallas Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl and win? Also, they're going to talk about Dak Prescott and how we just signed a new contract extension with the Cowboys. So let's see what they have to say about that.
Can you see Dak winning a Super Bowl in Dallas?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. I don't see the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl, period. I mean, that would give the Dallas Cowboys fan base reason to celebrate, and we all know I'm allergic to that. Ain't no way in hell. The Dallas Cowboy fans are perpetually miserable, and they will stay that way for years to come. Matter of fact, I hope the Dallas Cowboys are successful. I hope they win the division. I hope they get to the NFC Championship game. Whatever provides the strongest level of misery for that nauseating, disgusting fan base, I can't stand them. I'm happy about it. I will say this, though. Dak deserved that money. Dak deserved that money. I firmly believe he deserves that money by default. Look at what Kirk Cousins is getting. Look at what Matt Stafford is getting. Look at what all of these dudes are getting. Excuse me, I think that Dak deserves his money. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a good team in all seriousness. But when you talk about them winning the Super Bowl, listen, first of all, in all seriousness, they beat up on each other in the NFC East. That's point number one. Point number two, Drew Brees is still playing. I believe in Atlanta with Matty Ice. I think that they're going to resurrect themselves this season. Cam Newton's got that shoulder operated on, and obviously he's working some things out. Aaron Rodgers will be back. Russell Wilson just got about $65 million, at least $65 million in guaranteed dollars. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint that there's a whole bunch of competition within the NFC that's going to be standing in the Dallas Cowboys' way in all seriousness. And I don't believe they're winning a Super Bowl anytime soon. I think they'll be respectable, but I think some competition in the NFC East, particularly the Philadelphia Eagles, are going to be standing in their way, and they're going to have something to say about that.
So I think Stephen A. Smith is wrong about the Cowboys. The Cowboys are definitely competitors. The Dallas Cowboys can definitely get to the Super Bowl and possibly win the Super Bowl. I mean, just look at, since 2016, they've been to the playoffs twice. And last year, they made the wild card and they beat, Seattle. So they took down Russell Wilson. And then in the second round, they lost to the LA Rams. And the Rams went to the Super Bowl. Even though they lost to New England, they still went. So that shows the potential that the Cowboys potentially have. Also, the Cowboys are just as stacked as the Cleveland Browns. Look at Dak Prescott, just signed a new contract extension yesterday. Then you have Amri Cooper. He should be re-signing his contract. And then in 2020, you have Ezekiel Elliott. He should be re-signing his contract. So they should have all the boys there. Those boys are stacked between all those guys. And Jason Witten is supposed to be coming back at tight end. And on the defensive side of the ball, they did sign DeMarcus Lawrence. So the Dallas Cowboys are stacked everywhere. They have all the potential in the world to do what they need to do. As long as they can stay out of their own way, guys don't get arrested, get DUIs, beat up their girlfriends, or whatever the situation is. If they can stay out of their own way, the Dallas Cowboys can definitely make some noise. Definitely make some noise. So I don't know. I think they can make it to the Super Bowl. So let's keep going.
Dallas Cowboys can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. He is the best fit for them. They are the best fit for him. He's a coach away. He reminds me most of a couple of quarterbacks. Obviously, Russell Wilson jumps to mind for a lot of people. First of all, they're both African-American quarterbacks of around the same size, right? So people just cast that way. But secondly, they both came into the league, both mobile to one degree or another, both with good arms, neither one super accurate out of the gate, but also not turning the ball over a lot because they're conservative in terms of the way they play. Both basically game managers who are big on third down. But the other guy that that Dak Prescott reminds me of is Tom Brady, because Tom Brady very much the same way early, not as mobile, obviously, and taller, but also came into the league as a game manager who was big on third down. And Brady and Russell Wilson both played for great coaches. Obviously, the greatest of all time, Belichick for Brady, but also a great coach in Pete Carroll for Russell Wilson. And so eventually,
so let me stop Max right there. So if you comparison between Russell Wilson and Tom Brady, as far as Russell Wilson is concerned, I can see where there could be a similarity, but that doesn't really matter because last year, Dak Prescott beat Russell Wilson in the wild card. So in the playoffs last year, in the wild card, Dallas beat the Seattle Seahawks. And then the next game, round two, they got beat by the Rams, like I said, and the Rams went to the Super Bowl and everything they did. So that takes care of Russell Wilson for the most part. As far as Tom Brady, I'm going to need more info on how he wants to compare Tom Brady, who's arguably the GOAT, to Dak Prescott. And as far as Max saying that he's a game manager. That's a prerequisite to be a quarterback in the NFL, to be a game manager, especially on third down. You better know what you're doing. I was like, why are we drafting you? So as far as that's so vague. I'm going to need a little bit more detail as why Max thinks Tom Brady is compared to Dak Prescott and vice versa. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
Actually, they developed from guys who kind of were managing on great teams, and their teams were carrying them as much as vice versa, and then they would come through in big moments to guys who could actually carry the team. Dak Prescott's not a team carrier right now, and who knows if he'll ever be one. It's a long way between where he is and Russell Wilson or obviously Tom Brady, right? But he is kind of where they were at similar points in his career, minus the coach. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. Defense, check. Offensive line, check. Running back, check. Number 1 wideout, check. Number 2 wideout, check. Veteran leadership at tight end, as a matter of fact, check. Check, 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 check. All the boxes. So Dak Prescott's not being asked, hey, carry an inferior team farther than they ought to go. He's being told, look, we got you. We know you're not a superstar yet, if you'll ever be, but we know you can play, and these guys will put you in a position to win. We need you to manage the game and be big when we need you most. That's exactly the type of cat Dak Prescott seems to be. We've seen it in the playoffs a couple times already. So really, he's one coach away, and after they don't win the Super Bowl this year, he'll get that coach next year. He can win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys.
I totally agree.
So I'm going to have to agree with Max there. They can definitely make it to the Super Bowl, if not win it. So, well, I don't know. Not of Tom. I don't know. Let's get away from the Super Bowl talk. But as far as the NFC, who would the Dallas Cowboys have to go through that are competitors? So the Seahawks, they took care of them. The Eagles, possibly. I think they can probably get over the hump and beat them. With the Saints, Drew Brees is going to be kind of tough, again, to have to deal with. The LA Rams, they met with them. I think they both know how each other plays. So I think they could probably get over the hump and taking care of the Rams too, possibly. Other than that, maybe the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. So I don't really see anybody that's heading above the Dallas Cowboys, that the Dallas Cowboys don't have enough weapons that they can compete with them. I just don't see it. Maybe experience, or maybe, like they said, they might get out-coached because Garrett is not necessarily the coach you really want for the Cowboys at this point. But I don't see where the Dallas Cowboys are just being overshadowed by anybody else that, given the right preparation and the momentum and a little bit of luck, that they can't take care of anybody in the NFC. So, I don't know. Let's keep going.
About Dak's money, okay? And from this perspective, that graphic that we put up was guys that's been to Super Bowls or either won Super Bowls. That's number one. So when we get into a $30 million conversation, I rephrase that. I disagree about the money. I agree with Max about the possibility of winning the Super Bowl. Listen, man, the market is the best thing that's happening to Dak Prescott right now. The unavailability of a great quarterback to identify beyond maybe 7 guys in the NFL is getting Dak $30 million. Dak play on the field has not warranted $30 million. He's surrounded by a lot of great players. When they didn't have a number 1 receiver, what did we talk about? The stagnant offense for the Dallas Cowboys. The receivers were complaining. We were talking about Dak not being the guy. Here's what I think Dak Prescott is. I think Dak Prescott is more in the mold of a Donovan McNabb than he is of a Russell Wilson and a Tom Brady. I say that because of this. Playing against Donovan McNabb when I played against the Cowboys, there were moments in games where he was the most dangerous player on the field if you didn't put him in a situation where he was uncomfortable. And we were able to do that to him a couple times in my career, and it showed that he wasn't the guy that was going to carry Philly to a Super Bowl. Now, with that being said, Dak $20 million a year? Yeah. $25 million a year? But when we start talking about those guys that we compared him to that graphic, there are some things on their resume that Dak hasn't been.
That's why I said Steven.
So, yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Spears, that Dak hasn't done that yet, but you got to look at his potential. I mean, you got to look at his potential. The Cowboys are riding high right now. Like I said, they are stacked in almost every position. They're knocking on getting to a Super Bowl. They made it to the second round last year. I mean, those guys they're just one tweak away from going to the big show. And why would you want to ruin that by not giving Dak Prescott his money? It's not like he hasn't proven himself. He's been to the playoffs the past 2 times out of the last 3 years. So why would you want to mess up that whole momentum and the whole flow of things by not letting him go or not signing him and having him leave? And who else are you going to get? Who else are you going to get to replace Dak and have to relearn the system and adjust to the guys? They all know each other. Why would you ruin that? So just off of that, even though Dak hasn't necessarily proved himself all the way, he's done enough to say, okay, you can be our guy going forward. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows how to play with each other. We've been to the playoffs. We need to just get over that hump. Why would you want to ruin that? Give him that money. That he's done enough. Give him that amount of money for that very reason that everything's riding smooth right now. And this is the best the Dallas Cowboys have been in almost 20 years. Why ruin that? Give him the money. Take a chance. This is the perfect opportunity and chance to give away money. Give him money for a good situation. So I don't know. I would give Dak Prescott his money, even though he may not make the Super Bowl, just like all the other guys, or won a Super Bowl. His potential, his upside with all the other guys that are stacked, the stacked team, you got to give that man his money. You got to give him his money. Plus, he shouldn't be getting in trouble, but he doesn't get in trouble. He does his job. He doesn't get in trouble on the field or off the field. So give him his money. You can depend on him. You can depend on Dak. Now, I shouldn't be saying, oh, he doesn't get in trouble, because you're not supposed to be getting in trouble. You don't get props for that. But I'm just saying, considering everything else that's been going on in the league. So give Dak Prescott his money so you guys can progress and only worry about getting to the Super Bowl and nothing else. You don't have to worry about contracts. You don't have to worry about guys getting jealous. Everybody's locked down. Everybody's getting their money. Now, all you have to do is worry about is getting to the Super Bowl and maybe getting rid of Mr. Garrett. But anyways, let's keep going.
I said 20 for Dak. I could see 20, but not 30, because not yet. He'll get 30 if he if he continues to develop. But right now, 20, he's not average. He's better than average.
Well, first of all, just sit aside. We don't want to hear that from you, Max, because last time I checked, you religiously harp on the fact that you take what the market allows. If you have an opportunity to get it, you take it. Well, I'm talking about the market. I'm not talking about it from a literal perspective. We're not taking Cap into consideration. I understand that. We get all of that. We understand what his talents are ultimately worth. But what I'm trying to say to you is, when we are able to harken back to the fact that Jay Cutler once got $26 million, when Matthew Stafford got $27 million and was the highest paid quarterback in the game at the time he signed that contract, when Matty Ice got $30 million, it was before the Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, Marcus Spears. It was before the Super Bowl. Okay, when we look at that, and Kirk Cousins averaging $28 million, guaranteed